The following sections explore the different ways your brain fights for control of you. While I will refer to the specific parts of the brain that neurophysiologists believe are responsible for specific types of thinking and emotions, the actual physiology is much more complex, and scientists are only beginning to understand it now. Good morning, everybody. Hope you are all well. And I'm excited. It's Wednesday, lots of great things to achieve and do and think about. Life is just so wonderful. But to start with, we're going to be reading Principles of Ray Dalio. And yes, we're going to quickly go through it and see what my thoughts are on it. And I'd love to know your thoughts as well. So feel free to leave a comment. And good morning, Val. And great to have you here this morning on the Bigo. And we are up to 4.3. Understanding the great brain battles and how to control them to get what you want, which I suppose is what everybody would really like to be able to do. And that is odd. Let me see if I can do that again. Somebody was joining on the Zoom and they were joining and then they must have dropped out. Okay, so I think that Milan's been able to join this time. Last time I hit join, it didn't work for him, but he is here now. And also Mariana, great to see you. Thank you for joining. Noor and Deal Spotter, great to see you too. Okay, we're up to 4.3, understanding the great brain battles and how to control them to get what you want. This is going to be good. Let's get into it. And yes, here we go. The following sections explore the different ways your brain fights for control of you. While I will refer to the specific parts of the brain that neurophysiologists believe are responsible for specific types of thinking and emotions, the actual physiology is much more complex, and scientists are only beginning to understand it now. A. Realize that the conscious mind is in a battle with the subconscious mind. Earlier in the book, I introduced the concept of the two yous and explained how your higher level you can look down on your lower level you to make sure that your lower level you isn't sabotaging what your higher level you wants. Though I've often seen these two yous in action in myself and others, it wasn't until I learned why they exist that I really understood them. As with animals, many of our decision-making drivers are below the surface. An animal doesn't decide to fly or hunt or sleep or fight in the way that we go about making many of our own choices of what to do. It simply follows the instructions that come from the subconscious parts of its brain. These same sorts of instructions come to us from the same parts of our brains, sometimes for good evolutionary reasons and sometimes to our detriment. Our subconscious fears and desires drive our motivations and actions through emotions such as love, fear, and inspiration. It's physiological. Love, for example, is a cocktail of chemicals such as oxytocin secreted by the pituitary gland. This is absolutely true. There's a lot of research based on this that is coming out, especially now. So we are, in essence, a little bit like a computer, and this computer runs software. And so when a certain situation happens, the software looks at that and says, okay, so if it is A, then I'm going to do this. If it's B, I'm going to do that. If it's C, I'm going to do something else. If it's a combination of A and C, then I'm going to do maybe, let's say, D. And so everything that we do is based on this software, this algorithm that was written for us. And the way in which it works is that it is programmed into us from a very young age. So between the ages of 0 and probably from the time you're born till about the time you are about 4 or 5 years old, you are just absorbing information. And so the things that your parents tell you, the things that you experience, the things that you do are going to determine what's written in your software. So if as a child your parents are always fighting about money, then you're going to have certain programs around money. And they could be negative, they could be positive. If you manage, like I did, to light a match when you were, I think I was about 3 years old when I lit my first match. Not sure how. I must have seen my father doing it, and I did that and imitated my father, and I was able to light the match. I didn't get burnt, nothing happened. My mother didn't really react too panicked. And so I became very adventurous. And there were lots of these kind of examples of things that were super adventurous as a child for me. So we used to go out camping a lot and do all these different things. If your parents were the opposite, if you got in trouble for every single little thing that you did that was adventurous, then you would most likely become less adventurous. And so in your life after that age, you're going to be following that software, which is all in the subconscious mind, and it just automatically controls. That subconscious mind is the part of you that, for example, when you are driving, it allows you to be able to do other things. Have you ever been on the freeway driving and all of a sudden you think about something and you get lost off in space a little bit, and you arrive somewhere maybe a few kilometers down the road and you think, wow, I don't remember driving the last 2-3 minutes of this freeway. And this is because the subconscious mind is able to do different things without you. So very often when I am driving, I will be thinking about something, I'll be lost off in space, but my subconscious is still paying attention to the road, and it will tell me when the car in front of me is braking. And all of a sudden I snap out of it and I will see the car braking. I will brake, everything will be fine. And so it's the part of our brain that allows us to filter the information coming in and decide what to do about it. It's the conscious mind, the separate section, that allows us to actually think and make changes to that software. So if we have an irrational fear, for example, of snakes when there is no snake in the room, our subconscious mind will automatically pick up on that and cause different things to happen. It will make our hair stand up on end. It will make us get ready to run just in case there is a real snake, all of these different things. And so we need to be able to then unprogram some of those things that have been happening by repetition and different things like this. But to come back to what Ray Dalio is talking about is the fact that everything that we do is automatic based on that software that we have. So yes, we can make changes. It does take a little bit of time. It is a process. But essentially, as humans, we like to think that we have free will, but we don't really. We often just implement the things that are based on the things that we've learned as a child. And so those things propel us to do the things that we do. And so we need to catch ourselves, be aware of that, as I've said many, many times in the recordings of principles. As Peter Drucker used to say, what gets measured gets managed. So if you are aware of something, you can make a change to it. If you just continue down this road of being on the autopilot, then not being aware of it prevents you from being able to make any changes to it. So it's really fascinating. And it's the only thing that I can say about it really is that you just want to be aware of what is going on for you and learn about the principles of being able to make adjustments. And then you can make those adjustments, and then you are in control of your destiny and your future. Otherwise, you are just doomed by the experiences and the things that your parents told you as a child, and then you will continue down the same path and not be able to make that switch, which means that you won't be able to unlock your rich. For those of you who've watched before, I'm sure you'll know what I mean. And of course, you'll hear about it at the end as well. Let's continue. This has been very interesting so far. While I had always assumed that logical conversation is the best way for people to get at what is true, with this new knowledge about the brain, I came to understand that there are large parts of our brain that don't do what is logical. For example, I learned that when people refer to their feelings, such as saying, I feel that you are unfair with me, they are typically referring to messages that originate in the emotional subconscious parts of their brains. I also came to understand that while some subconscious parts of our brains are dangerously animalistic, others are smarter and quicker than our conscious minds. Our greatest moments of inspiration often pop up from our subconscious. We experience those creative breakthroughs when we are relaxed and not trying to access the part of the brain in which they reside, which is generally the neocortex. When you say, I just thought of something, you notice your subconscious mind telling your conscious mind something. With training, it's possible to open the stream of communication. So one great way of noticing this is, for example, you have your best ideas probably in the shower or in a bath. When you're completely relaxed, this opens up your ability to be able to reach the subconscious mind a little bit better. I have the same thing when I go for a walk. So if I've been working on something and it has been, and I get a little bit stuck. I'll go for a walk, and as I'm walking and as I'm relaxing and I'm not focusing on the challenge anymore, the answer will come to me. I used to use this as one of my study methods. So back when I was in high school, I used to study something, and if I couldn't get to the bottom of the answer, I would go and juggle. So my science teacher taught us how to juggle, part of the science curriculum apparently. So we made juggling balls, learned to juggle, and so I would go and juggle. And as the brain is working on the juggling, the subconscious mind is now working on that question that you're asking yourself, because our brains are a little bit like Google. When we ask ourselves questions, questions are the key to being able to achieve things. So rather than saying, for example, that something is expensive, you can ask, how can I afford it? And the brain will start looking for answers to that. If you say, it's too expensive, that's just full stop, end of story, nothing the brain can do about it. But if you say, how can I afford it? The brain says, oh, question, I have to find an answer. And so it will start scanning, it will start filtering out things that are not important to that question, and it will start looking for other things that can help you solve that problem. And this would have been very, very handy for the caveman who was looking for fruit, for example. How can I find some fruit? Where am I going to find fruit? All of these questions, the brain starts looking for different information. So let's say I'm looking to the left, but there is a fruit bush over to the right. The brain will know this. It will be able to pick up on it, even if I'm not looking in that direction, and it will give the signal, allowing you to be able to find what you need, even though we only have limited resources in our seeing abilities, hearing abilities, etc. So it is very, very interesting how this works. And the more you understand it, the more in control that you can be. So it is really good to take some breaks and go for a walk, take a shower. And these times, it will open up your subconscious to be able to find the solutions. And also asking questions is a great way to be able to find a way to do things that you otherwise think are not possible for you to be able to do. We didn't get an instruction manual for the brain, but the more we understand the brain, the more that we can actually control how we use it so that we can get better results from it. And that is one of my principles, and what Ray Dalio is talking about right now as well. Okay, let's continue. Many people only see the conscious mind and aren't aware of the benefits of connecting it to the subconscious. They believe that the way to accomplish more is to cram more into the conscious mind and make it work harder. But this is often counterproductive. While it might seem counterintuitive, clearing your head can be the best way to make progress. Knowing this, I now understand why creativity comes to me when I relax, like when I'm in the shower, and how meditation helps open this connection. Because it's physiological, I can actually feel the creative thoughts coming from elsewhere and flowing into my conscious mind. It's a kick to understand how that works. But a note of caution is in order too. When thoughts and instructions come to me from my subconscious, rather than acting on them immediately, I've gotten into the habit of examining them with my conscious, logical mind. I have found that in addition to helping me figure out which thoughts are valid and why I am reacting to them as I do, doing this opens further communication between my conscious and subconscious minds. It's helpful to write down the results of this process. In fact, that's how my principles came about. If you take nothing else away from this chapter, beware of your subconscious, of how it can both harm you and help you, and how by consciously reflecting on what comes out of it, perhaps with the help of others, you can become happier and more effective. So it is very important that when you get that intuition, very often we will then start thinking about it and second guessing it and questioning it. And what we really need to do is we need to just act on it. And we have an intuition for a reason. And I'm not sure why it became taboo or how it became taboo, but really we have a very strong intuition. We know what we need to eat very often. We'll know what we need in different other areas of life. And for some reason, we don't act on that intuition. So, for example, when I was at university, I used to go to the supermarket every day That was a habit that I picked up from living in Japan for a year, because in Japan, everybody buys fresh food every day and prepares the food the minute it was bought. But I used to do that, and I would not figure out what I wanted to eat. I would go to the supermarket and I just walk past, and I mainly ate fruits and vegetables because that was the thing that I really loved. And I would just walk past the fruits and vegetables, and I would intuitively allow myself to feel what I wanted to eat. So I'd walk past and I'd say, what does my body require right now? And I'd walk past, and all of a sudden I would just have a craving for a certain particular kind of vegetable. And then that would be what I would buy on that day. And this is a great way of being able to make sure that you are giving yourself the right nutrition by just buying it in a very, very intuitive way. And we need to be able to tap into that intuition that we have. Okay, I hope you enjoyed today's part of the reading. We'll finish there since we are up to part B. This is one of my favorite parts. Well, a lot of them have been a lot of my favorite parts. But I really love the conscious and subconscious mind. I actually wrote an article about the conscious and subconscious mind and how you can tap into the subconscious in order to be able to get access to the things that you require in order to be able to achieve your goals and dreams. So very often our subconscious mind isn't accessible to us, and it will stop us because our conscious mind doesn't help us to achieve our goals, whereas our subconscious does. So I wrote an article about how to actually tap into this subconscious mind. And I think the article needs a little bit of updating. But if you are interested, I'm going to, I'm happy to send it to everybody who sends me a message on Instagram. So if you would be interested, if you'd like to understand what the morning routine is that I use in order to be able to achieve my goals on a daily basis, I would like to send that to you. So feel free to send me your details on, you could do it on Bigo, but my Bigo is very spammy. So if you can send it to me on Instagram would be much better. And so anybody today that sends me a message on Instagram and says that you came from Bigo, so mention the word Bigo and that you'd be interested in my article, and I'll send that through to you. So my Instagram, business_team_6_official. And that article talks about a morning routine that you can implement that is extremely powerful. And it will give you access to your subconscious in a way that most people never have access to. We probably do during the day from certain times. But it is more powerful during certain times of the day, and it doesn't work nearly as well when you do it accidentally as opposed to when you use it as a proper tool. So send me a message on Instagram and I'll send that through to you. And yes, if you want to watch the rest of the recordings of me reading Principles with my thoughts and commentary, you can watch that on YouTube. The channel is The Passive Cash Flow Club. Make sure you subscribe, because then you'll know when the new videos are uploaded. But also, because when you subscribe, you'll also get notifications when we do a question and answer. So people have been sending me questions, and I've been turning them into videos. And they might be the answers to your questions. So if you subscribe, you'll know when a new video has come up. It might be the answer to one of your questions. It might be something that is extremely relevant to you, that is a bit of a challenge for you. And it might help you to be able to achieve your goal on an investing level. If you have any questions with regards to economics, the book itself, if you want to watch the recordings of the previous books that I've been reading, anything at all, get in touch, watch it on YouTube, and get in touch on Instagram, business_team_6_official, and make sure you send me a message if you'd like that article that I wrote about how to tap into the subconscious mind using a morning routine, which is really, really good. Let me see, I have to decline a call so that the streaming can keep going. So I just had a call come through and it just cut off the Bigo. But yes, get in touch on Instagram, business_team_6_official. And I'm looking forward to getting to know more of you. And also, if you are interested in the other things that we do, so we have game nights, we have simulators that you can learn from, we have masterminds and different other things. So get in touch and let us know what you're interested in, and we probably have something that can help you reach your goals to investing success. And also send through your questions if you have any questions. So I am going to leave it there. Remember to make the switch to unlock your rich. If you make some tweaks in your life, then anything becomes possible. But if you keep doing the same thing, you're going to keep getting the same results. So keep making that switch. Have an absolutely amazing day. I really appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for joining. And I'm looking forward to seeing you again tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Sydney time, for another reading. We're going to continue with Ray Dalio principles. And I am looking forward to getting to know more of you. So reach out, get in touch. I'll send you the article today if you tell me that you came from Bigo and that you would be interested in the article. And I might quickly make some adjustments because it's an article I wrote quite a while ago, and there's some new research that came out with regards to that. So let me know and I'll send that through to you. Have an absolutely amazing day. I'm going to stop the Zoom recording, but I'm going to go to Bigo and say hello to everybody that joined there. And I really appreciate you joining, and I'll see you all tomorrow, 8 a.m. Sydney time, for more reading.